The end of Attack on Titan. This video does build on part 1 and the Attack on Titan chapter 122 video. Watch those, then let's start our own colossal rumbling on that thumbs up. Since the longest time any hardcore Attack on Titan fan could recall, there's been two familiar questions. When would Attack on Titan end? And how would Attack on Titan end? For some years, Isayama has been moving the goalposts for the endgame. Those of you hoping for a neutral happily ever after ending for your favorite character, like Mikasa, Armin, Eren, Levi, or even a certain girl to get snapped away, only disappointment awaits. Let's go ahead and dive into the Attack on Titan conclusions. Cause really, there's 3 possible endgame scenarios, a happy, neutral, and dark ending. And definitely share it down below which one you want to happen. First off, the happy ending, the sunshine and rainbow scenario. Eren ends up with Mikasa and Queen Historia and best girl Armin. Really, just Attack on Titan gaining that harem tag. Eren then gets little Ymir to summon the Titan gods to completely heal up Levi, good as new. But seriously, in this scenario, no more Titan powers going forward, the world is in a complete peaceful state. Eren becomes some sort of leader figure or even king figure for Paradise Island. Armin would be there right alongside best buddy Eren, now fully taking over the commander role. Haji just heads back to experimenting 24/7, perhaps inventing solar panels. Mikasa goes off to become some leader or some royal important figure for the Asian clan with Kiyomi. Historia officially steps down from being queen, at least one that has any governing authority, and lives freely on that farm of hers. As for the baby daddy, Isayama has dropped more breadcrumbs in the final few chapters for this royal blood baby. There's enough for fans to speculate one way or another. Was it Eren, Mr. Farmer Boy, Levi? And if it wasn't Eren, then perhaps the red string of fate worked out for Mr. Yeager. This becomes a neat discussion that fans debate over for decades, kind of like a certain other anime with the green-haired chick. Second endgame scenario, the Titans, the Titan shifter powers, and the Eren Titan curse all gone. The world is at peace, at least for the moment. Eren may or may not still die. This is left vague by Isayama. Eren is now free of being this Titan for Paradise Island. Due to this, Eren now freely is allowed to travel worldwide. Queen Historia is left in charge of the island with Armin, Mikasa, and Hanji taking leadership roles. But most importantly, at least Levi could open his tea shop. Oh, and it just happens to have wheelchair access. The third Attack on Titan endgame scenario, the dark ending. All of you hardcore Attack on Titan fans know about Isayama's infamous original ending. Everyone brutally eaten by Titans, or in some way that makes them lovely cereal pancake entrees. Eren dies, Mikasa dies, best boy Armin smacked to a wall, Hanji loses her final eye, Historia dies giving birth, and so on, along with most of your favorite beloved Attack on Titan characters. I'm sorry, Levi did bleed out. The cherry on top? Gabi survives, taking all credit for ending all Titans. She may even get a statue made of her. The one retelling the Attack on Titan story turns out to actually be Armin, but not from Armin being alive, but from Armin having written down the Attack on Titan stories and Attack on Titan history up until this point. We actually did get this foreshadowed a little bit. Recall Armin taking notes inside of that jail cell. And you know what's coming next. Minutes after the chapter drops, you see the cancel Attack on Titan and change Attack on Titan hashtags trending on Twitter. Give Attack on Titan back to Marvel. The fourth bonus endgame scenario, Eren wakes up in Attack on Titan Junior High. It was all a dream. Isayama did put in that Easter egg after all, goth Mikasa and hipster Armin. But let me stop the fun. What is the actual ending? Naturally, these 3 options are in the Titan realm of possibilities. Attack on Titan started with Eren, and it's also going to end via Eren freaking Yeager. The Attack on Titan finale, how it came to be. I brought up Isayama's infamous ending about how Attack on Titan was originally going to end. This really is insight into the mind of the Attack on Titan creator. But was Isayama being a little bit mischievous here? What if Isayama already told you the truth? That finale he talked about where the Attack on Titan characters died actually already happened, to some extent. Attack on Titan should have been concluded by the time the story got to the finale of the Beast Titan basement arc, surely before anything in the 4-year timeskip arcs. Recall what was taking place during the Beast Titan basement arc. Everyone returned to the place where the story began. Ultimately, tons of Survey members turned into this bloody, misty mess. The Beast Titan got turned into sashimi by Chef Levi Ackerman. The one raging village boy Eren got revenge on the claws of Titan. Isayama slowly built the foundations leading to that ultimate decisive situation. Who to save? I don't think any of us would have wanted to be in that situation. Ultimately, it was Levi who had the last say here. Levi, in his own way, chose freedom for his buddy Erwin. Time to rest, old friend. You are now free. The rest is now history. Armin got juiced up, which turned into a colossal achievement for humanity on that day. Notice, an important piece of the Attack on Titan puzzle here being Armin. So this is the Attack on Titan history you're familiar with. Or actually, I should say, the Attack on Titan history Isayama has shown to you. In the Attack on Titan anime, you have all the red shirts passing away, plus one commander. However, this arc conclusion is pretty different from that endgame that Isayama originally spoke about, where most of the main characters die off. What if this Attack on Titan history where Armin survived is actually Eren's second attempt? Oh yes, a Steins Gate or ReZero situation, and ReZero anime fans should have a good idea of what I mean. ReZero had one route where Rem killed Subaru. A couple Subaru respawns and retries later, Subaru and Rem are super buddy-buddy. I could hear some of you screaming, I knew it. Attack on Titan has been using some type of time travel or stuck in some loop this whole time. Hold up, let me clarify and really emphasize that I don't consider this to be time travel. Still, I think a good chunk of people will oversimplify whatever happens in the Attack on Titan story, just calling it or shorthanding it to be time travel. Arguably, it's less time travel than what ReZero has done, but ultimately I'll leave that choice to you. Anyway, now you have route number 2, or at least a second route to that Eren already experienced. This world timeline or path where Armin is picked to inherit the Colossal Titan. But you may be wondering, if this is the outcome, what happened to the world timeline before this? And some of you may already see where I'm going with this. Surprised, the previous route, Erwin got picked instead of Armin. Oh my frigging Ymir. You got Colossal Commander Erwin rising to the occasion, even getting his arm back. And I'm saying all of this, but how the hell would Erwin getting the Colossal Titan even make sense? I could hear you asking. Quick side note here, just to keep this less confusing, I'm going to be referring to the timeline where Erwin survived as the Erwin timeline, and on the flip side, the Armin timeline. All of this goes back to Eren Kruger. If you want to save them all, Mikasa, Armin, and so on. Eren Kruger got this line from Eren Yeager in the future, which was some time after the events involving the timeline when Erwin survived. In the Erwin reality, you already found out that Armin stayed barbecued. The real issue now becomes Mikasa. This is what I brought up at the end of part 1 about Mikasa being a problem. How in the world do you explain her? This goes back to part 1, where I brought up how future Eren was sending memories back to his younger self. Fight, really trying to not only awaken Mikasa, but to create this Ackerman bond between Mikasa and Eren. However, what if this never happened? In the Erwin timeline, Mikasa never awakens her Ackerman powers. And I could hear some of your questions about this already. How would have Eren saved Mikasa from those ugly bastards? How about the rest of the Attack on Titan story? Mikasa played a huge part there too. Let's go ahead and dive into Eren rescuing Mikasa. The raging Eren actually did an amazing job taking out these losers with just a knife. It was only due to young Eren missing one of these fellas that caused this screw up. In the Erwin timeline, a few options here. 1. Eren could have simply took out all 3 men without any mistakes. Future Eren could have then wrongly informed young Eren that there were only 2 guys in the Armin timeline. 2. Mikasa may not have made it since Eren was too late, really just getting rid of Mikasa entirely right here. Although I do think Mikasa would have been needed to build that close connection with Eren, just enough for him to care about her. 3. You actually already saw reality in the Mikasa Lost Girl special, where the guys got shredded by some wolves, and so on. Something important you should really notice about this Eren saves Mikasa situation. Future Eren was the one influencing this past situation, so Mikasa would awaken her Ackerman abilities, which was in the timeline when Armin survives. Isayama has actually given you evidence to foreshadow this. Recall Mikasa's infamous headaches. Mikasa just had one of these recently. And which event did Mikasa just happen to recall? Oh yes, that day. Sure, this was the time she awakened her powers, but most importantly, this was a memory involving Eren. Mikasa herself as an Ackerman was having trouble recalling the exact details of what took place. Why? The reason? It was all due to Eren changing the specific past history. This actually asks more questions about what the Ackerman really are. Ooh, the Ackerman mystery. But anyway, back to the Erwin timeline. Pretty much the Attack on Titan story would continue as expected. Eren would join up with the scouts. I actually do see Mikasa now without parents, also trying to become a scout too, mostly due to Eren. I'm doubting that Mikasa as a normal human would make it into the top 10. But then again, you do have Potato Girl Sasha and Coney up in there. So, totally possible. The important question now comes up. When does Mikasa die in this timeline? I'm leaning towards Mikasa dying in the initial Trost attack. At one point you had Mikasa almost splattered by that one Titan fellow. Given a Mikasa without her Ackerman powers or Ackerman bond, it would have been game over for Mikasa. Even if Mikasa didn't specifically die at this moment, she would have had to die somewhere along the way before the Beast Titan basement arc. This would have ultimately led Eren feeling extremely guilty for her death, possibly feeling Armin too. Let me now get into the burning question on top of your mind. How do the events of the Attack on Titan story even happen without Mikasa? Honestly, I was skeptical about this too, until you looked at it piece by piece. Before getting into this, let me just be perfectly clear that I am not discounting Mikasa's role or usefulness in the Attack on Titan story by any means. I've personally been a colossal fan of Mikasa since Attack on Titan Season 1, and still am a fan of hers today. Come on Isayama, do more with her. And I'm not talking about action stuff. Looking at the Trust arc round 1, sure, Mikasa took out some titans here, but without her there, everything would have continued as normal. Definitely more people and scouts would have died. All of those scared scouts likely would have stayed on the rooftop, although something tells me that Mr. Horus here would have stepped up for the occasion. Either way, Titan Eren would have popped up eventually and cleaned the titan infested area. Looking at the Trust arc round 2, what was Mikasa's contribution here? Surprisingly, not much. She only killed a couple of normal titans. And yes, to give Mikasa credit here, this was during the time where killing a regular titan was difficult. Had Mikasa not been there, we could have expected more losses, but most likely the Levi squad would have made it back there due to the mission taking much longer. Next up, the female titan showdown in the Titan Forest. Mikasa got to watch Annie swallowing Eren. But what did Mikasa end up doing right here? Sure, Mikasa slowed down an already freaking tired female titan. Just a bit. Take Mikasa out of the equation, realistically Levi would have still caught up, especially after seeing the Petra special left behind. Actually, without Mikasa, Levi would have actually succeeded in retrieving Eren without getting injured. You know whose fault that was. Keep this in mind. Next up, the female titan smackdown with Enwal Sina. This one is a little tricky to handle since the anime added a bunch of anime original stuff. The most infamous Mikasa scene here involves her slicing away at the blonde titan trying to escape. Without the Mikasa factor, who would have fit that role? That's right, Levi. Levi now wouldn't have been handicapped from the forest fight. Although Levi might have been slowed down to enter the actual fight, Levi definitely would have been there to shred some female titan. This now brings into question whether Levi would have actually given Annie the chance to go Crystal Sleeping Beauty mode, but I'll leave you to wonder about that one. Getting into Attack on Titan Season 2, get Mikasa slashing away at her former friends. Naturally, you're getting the sense of Mikasa's role being filled by Levi. I do think Levi would have come closer to actually killing these guys, except I really doubt Levi would have actually done what Mikasa had. Naturally, had Mikasa close by hearing this reveal, the blood was boiling deep inside of her, until she erupted assaulting them. Levi in the Erwin timeline wouldn't have rushed over or would have just been further back. As for Levi versus Armor Titan or Colossal Titan on the wall top, this is debatable. Although really what more could have Levi done at this point? Levi also wouldn't have been able to slash the Armor Titan's golden crust. Levi would have likely stuck nearby Hanji to form a plan, which is why I picture a similar outcome. The Colossal Titan falling, then Reiner snatching Eren for a to-go meal. Unlike Mikasa, Levi would have likely not been knocked out. Next up, Eren versus the Dina Titan. Once again, something that would have taken place without or with Mikasa. You don't have Mikasa there now to uplift the sobbing Eren, but a good kick or shout from Levi nearby would have done the same. That, or Eren just going One Punch Man on the Dina Titan on his own. Overall, I would imagine a few less casualties had Levi been there. I could even picture the commander not losing his arm. Getting into the Uprising arc. Another tricky one since you got two versions going from the Attack on Titan anime versus the Attack on Titan manga. Despite that, I don't think it's hard to see how you could exclude Mikasa. Levi was in the original warehouse manga scene, and the scouts would have been fine without Mikasa too, although a bit tougher situation without the Ackerman powered person there. Next up, the most recent anime stuff, the basement reveal arc. I think it's easier to see how much Mikasa helped out here during the fights. Take Mikasa out and you got one less person firing Thunder Spears. In the Erwin timeline, Horseboy, Potato Girl Sasha, and Connie would have had to replace Mikasa, which now starts getting closer to the original Attack on Titan ending. Hanji's group now had to battle the Colossal Titan and Armor Titan. From everyone in the group including Jean, Sasha, and Connie, I'd be surprised if all of them didn't end up dying, or at least in critical condition by the end of the fight. You now get to the familiar Titan syringe situation. Who do you save? Armin or Erwin? Ultimately, you saw Levi decide who to save last time. Part of what influenced Levi was him seeing the Attack on Titan trio talking on the stairs on that night. Except now you don't have Mikasa there, which is why this trio scene would have never taken place. In the current Erwin timeline on the rooftop, you got this mentally crushed Eren. Sasha, Jean, Connie are likely dead, and right nearby him you have this barbecued Armin. When it comes down to the moment, best buddy versus commander, with possibly Hanji, Levi, and Flock there, Eren really wouldn't have a voice at all. No Mikasa to interfere either. Erwin would have ended up getting injected without question. Good game, Armin. Recall what I mentioned earlier about Mikasa and her headaches. She actually had a headache on the spot in the anime Armin route. Mikasa would have not been around when Erwin got chosen, but her Ackerman senses were tingling. Mikasa was getting the sense of this familiar event that already took place, except this time she's present. The act of now picking Armin is about to trigger a key difference. Also notice this not only involves a Titan shifter, but specifically Armin, a person that Mikasa is close with. In other words, the Ackerman bond very likely isn't limited to a single person. Anyway, Erwin ends up getting the Titan batter instead. This timeline now has Erwin as a new Colossal Titan alive, but also an Eren who's pretty much lost everyone he cared about. Compare this to the post-time skip Eren who loved his friends, and Eren who was so against even bringing up the possibility of them dying. The Erwin timeline now slowly progresses into this darker timeline for humanity. It now becomes a question of what happened with Erwin still alive and kicking, which honestly is a video topic on its own, but I really wanted to keep this together in one video. What is clear are some key events under the Erwin leadership. Recall the attack on Marley. You know how much of a gambler Erwin was. His belief was that the strongest defense involved a strong spear going forward. Post-time skip, you constantly saw Armin hesitating, preferring to hold back and wanting to try to talk it out. In other words, the beginning of the Armin versus Eren's mindset. On the flip side, compare this to the Erwin timeline. Commander Erwin and his war-torn Eren would have likely lined up almost perfectly. Let's advance forward. Oh, Zeke wants to meet up and team up? Screw it, let's go ahead and leave in 10 minutes. Time to educate Marley about something called the Jaeger bomb. Forget about the attack on Marley as you know it. Erwin leading the charge for this coordinated attack would have left a much bigger impact. If anything, this would have been the official Paradise Island declaration of war onto the world. Unfortunately, this path gets even darker. Zeke would have been rescued, or should I say escorted to the island. Ultimately, the two Jaeger brothers would have moved rapidly to perform their little Colossal Titan demonstration. Except, this ain't no demo. Millions of Colossal Titans would have awakened at once. Right in front of them would have been a big eyebrowed Colossal Titan, tons of Colossal Titans behind him. Whether Erwin and Eren stopped at destroying only one military spot or entire major world locations is unknown, but something tells you that history would have been repeated. Eldians destroying everything in sight, only this time with a bunch of giant meat men. Somewhere along the way, Eren would have gotten the Warhammer Titan, either from the initial attack on Marley or from the Colossal Titan stampede. Once the millions of Colossal Titans were done, the world would have really been left in ruins. The Eldians and the rest of the world would now start from ground zero, except the Eldians being on top of the food chain. After it was all said and done, Eren would then return to bear-hug Zeke. That's right, in this situation, Zeke's euthanasia plan would have been complete, perhaps even unknowing to Eren. This would have been the first time Eren entering the Titan realm. During this trip, Eren would have seen the truth of Ymir on his own, and also the truth about the attack on Titan power. Only after the world was destroyed by his Colossal Titans, and his people euthanized by his brother, would Eren discover the truth. I could imagine Eren either tricking Zeke, or straight out Eren eating his brother to gain the Beast Titan. This time Eren would send the memories back. It would be the Founding Titan plus Attack Titan powers combined. It would be Eren's wish, Eren's gamble for a better future. Only this time, Eren would bet on Armin and Mikasa. Papa Grisha, if you want to save them, Armin, Mikasa, and the others, then take this future truth. All of this ultimately leads up to the current Attack on Titan story, the Armin route, which also has Mikasa juiced up with this Ackerman shake, and the others surviving, minus one potato girl. Before advancing to the Attack on Titan finale, I know this question is burning inside of a lot of you. If Eren helped to lead the world into this doomsday scenario, where his loved ones have died, why didn't Eren change more of it? Why not save Sasha, his mother, Uncle Hannes, and countless others? There's really two parts to this. The first really is from a writing standpoint. Isayama has succeeded in putting all these restrictions in place so Eren can't just rewrite anything he wishes. Sending some future knowledge back to certain spots in the Attack on Titan timeline would already be difficult as it is. You would have to hope and gamble the Attack on Titan user could achieve anything with whatever you gave them. The second reason, a more important part, is when you're trying to actually influence the past. There's always this massive possibility for events to shift into a completely different history altogether, which goes back to the talk about this being a gamble. It smells very much of future Eren being influenced by Erwin. Let's go ahead and take another flip of the coin. Redoing some events could turn out better, but easily it could go much worse. Future Eren knows his own life and himself the best, which is why he would have a better way of predicting how his younger self would act with certain future knowledge. Teen Eren actually wouldn't see this events until he touched Historia. At this moment, he saw his past father and the grim future to come. This grim future being from what happened in the Erwin timeline, the Colossal Titan stampede. In other words, the select memories that future Eren showed Grisha. Moving to post-timeskip Eren, think back to the moment that Eren ate the Warhammer Titan. At this moment, Eren almost definitely got access to future memories and possibly even the Titan realm at the same time. Notice that enlightenment moment on his face. It actually helps give more context to Eren laughing on the blimp post Sasha's logout. Just moments ago, Eren just recently saw the past reality where his buddies all died, and the destruction that came afterwards. Now with Eren seeing that Sasha died, Eren realized that no matter what he did, someone he cared about would always die. This brings us to Attack on Titan chapter 122. Honestly, I didn't expect to see the Claws of Titans at the very end here. Not this chapter. But now that this happened, where does the Attack on Titan story go from here? Does Eren repeat the previous world destruction? There's two similar but distinct paths here. The first Attack on Titan endgame, I'll call this a CG route. Naturally, this is one that Isayama has been heavily foreshadowing. As Armin concluded, Eren used the attack on Marley in hopes of not only stealing the Warhammer Titan power and weakening the Marley nation, but also with the grand goal in mind to clearly make himself out to be the global threat. This would cause the world nations to unite, hopefully unite in one single convenient spot. To some extent, it does make me think that Eren and Willy were working together. Although let me not dive into this in this video. Eren would then awaken a chunk of the Colossal Titans in the district to wipe out the world's military forces stationed at Marley. It would be the Attack on Marley version 2.0, now with 1,000,000% more Colossal Titans. Naturally, Marley and the world would suffer a colossal blow from this attack. Eren and Paradise Island would then offer an ultimatum. Go ahead and sign this treaty with us. Otherwise, I'll take this Colossal Titan parade on a global tour. Ultimately, Eren would have the most bargaining power. The world nations at this point wouldn't have a strong choice in the matter. They would have to agree to the terms, otherwise be wiped out. The result from this would be something like the United Nations, where Paradise Island would join as a major power player, although a non-controlling one, which would honestly surprise the world. It would just be Eren getting some of that Armin influence. Bam! The new treaty is signed. Eren goes ahead and touches Zeke, so they make a new deal with young Ymir. The Titan realm and Titan paths are officially closed off. I could even picture Eren temporarily locking Zeke up in there. The Titan powers officially end, starting with any newborn Eldian. Back on Paradise Island, the walls are torn down. The millions of Colossal Titans are reverted back to being human, which was actually one of the key goals for Eren all along. You know about how much Eren despises freedom taken away. That Eldian king took the freedom and memories away from all the Eldian people when he got to Paradise Island. What's often overlooked is this Eldian king also happened to petrify millions of his own people to make the freaking walls. Eren not only frees Paradise Island, but also the millions of humans trapped in Titan Stone by that Eldian king. The question now comes up, no Colossal Titans. Wouldn't this give the world the advantage? Thanks to Kyojin, they've now developed thousands of those icebergs, weaponized bow planes. So, peaceful times ahead? Realistically, Isayama would write this to end not on a peaceful but a hopeful note. There's bound to be some war or fighting between the other nations. Even if there's no immediate war, you still got diseases, poverty, corruption, and countless regular crime that still exist. The only change now is that humanity will move forward, this time together. As for Eren in the Titan realm, Eren would have succeeded in freeing Ymir, which would in turn have the paths blocked. Titan powers would now not transfer after death. Unfortunately, the Titan deal to remove the future powers did not end the curse of Ymir. The Titan powers would be recalled back to the Titan realm, except no one would be there to create more Titans. Eren would be the final Titan still having Titan powers. Keep in mind that Ymir was the original Titan. She was still able to go Titan mode despite no one being in the Titan realm to create her Titan. Eren would actually spend the couple of years he has left to progress Paradise Island as much as possible. I mean, why let a Titan go to waste, especially the Warhammer Titan? Krisha previously talked about how Ymir helped progress the Eldian society. This time, Eren would actually willingly do that with his Titan. Then, for the end of the Attack on Titan manga, it would actually be Eren saying, "You are free" to Historia's baby. The word free in this context naturally referring to be free of the Titan shenanigans, along with the world truly being open to them now. Eren himself will pass away eventually, he just won't be there to witness it. The final message in the story would actually have a double meaning, one from Isayama to the Attack on Titan readers. You are now free from this amazing story. Hopefully the world takes a few pages of knowledge from the story and actually applies it to the future. Moving on to the second endgame, the darker Eren route. From everything mentioned, mostly everything is the same except Eren's conclusion. The world now sees this Eren guy as this quote-unquote devil, one with devil Titan powers. How would you actually move forward if the world is constantly in fear? How about if you get a Marleyan to take out Eren? Whether it's actually true or not, whether it's actually played out or just a story. How about getting a new Helos? This Helo figures who helped take down the Titans in the Great Titan War is this known legend. Isayama has been subtly foreshadowing at the world needing this new Helos figure. So how about Reiner taking the mantle of this new Helos that legends talk about? The legendary hero that took out the devil that came 2,000 years later in the form of Eren Yeager. It would be this way of establishing trust and this hopeful future, one without Titans or the devil of Paradise Island. Ultimately, it wouldn't be Eren who became the hero of the Attack on Titan world, but Reiner, the guy who wanted to die for the longest. It feels like this ironic, inspired turn of events from Isayama. But now on the flip side, what about Eren's true fate? In reality, Eren chose to free up the young Ymir. In the world of Attack on Titan, a good deed doesn't go unpunished. The cost? Eren swapping place with the little Ymir in the Titan realm. Eren's final act in the world would actually be a self-sacrificing one, which Isayama has actually been setting up for a while for Eren, really since the Uprising arc. So much foreshadowing there. You had all the cross symbolism. You saw the past founding Titan Frida, a cross behind her. Parallel this to Eren tied up in chains, arms spread out, which honestly might have been too obvious. By the way, did you notice? The parallel of Eren chained up in the Titan cave, only to see this chained up royal blood member in the Titan realm. Eren himself also chained up at one point. In the Attack on Titan finale, Eren technically doesn't die, but I wouldn't want to be in his shoes either. With the released Ymir now replaced by a free Eren, Eren chooses not to create Titans. The final panel of the Attack on Titan story, Eren spiritually holding Ymir at the end. You are free. Although 15% chance of this actually being a younger Eren. As for the actual baby being born at the very end, could it be a reborn Ymir? This Ymir would have no knowledge or memories of what actually happened, only given a second chance at life. Except Isayama would leave this unconfirmed. Historia simply names the new girl Ymir, perhaps in honor of the OG Ymir, or her super special best friend Ymir buddy. Was Ymir really reincarnated? That'll be discussed for years down the line, similar to Lelouch's fate. I gotta say, I'm truly surprised at how the Attack on Titan story has developed from the basement reveal, and now combine that with the post-time skip arcs. Honestly, this wasn't the story I initially expected when I first saw Attack on Titan Season 1. A large part of this is credited to Eren, and of course Isayama. Attack on Titan started with this raging village boy who wanted to ban all naked people in sight. Really a very standard shonen protagonist. It's almost surprising that once Attack on Titan ends, anime fans could be talking about Eren among some other characters like Lelouch and Light. Whether you liked Eren's character or not, especially his development, this story has been truly a blessing. But hey, that's an Attack on Titan endgame theory. Thanks for watching. But hold up, a few quick things. Really, I do have to apologize for part 2 taking so long to get out. I think I've been in Japan so long, it just makes me want to do a deep bellend apology. For anyone curious, there's been so much going on in life. For an unexpected US trip, some business I had to take care of there, combined with getting back just in time for Japan's mega typhoon. If you follow me on Twitter, you do know about this, but I did have to evacuate. I got sick a couple of times and all of that. All of that really set me so far back. On top of this, there was some overthinking for part 2. Just like with part 1, I ended up completely redoing part 2, especially trying to trim stuff down. Which is why I have some fun, exciting news. Do expect a part 3 or some type of follow-up later on. I'm not gonna give you a date cause every time I do, there's like a 99% chance it'll take longer. Like that famous wizard said, if I tell you, it won't happen. By the way, if you did enjoy this video and my anime videos, do consider becoming a Patreon supporter. For Patreon supporters, I am streaming almost every weekend. We talk about stuff like the Attack on Titan manga, the anime, seasonal anime, stuff like My Hero Academia, SAO, and anything you're curious about Japan. So go ahead and check out my Patreon and do consider becoming a supporter. Anyway, post your Attack on Titan endgame thoughts below. I'm sure after this, there's gonna be a lot of questions. Definitely subscribe and ring that bell for more juicy videos. I'm trying really hard to get back on schedule. Check out my recent SAO My Hero Academia videos and I'll see you guys later.